What's going on, people? Welcome to the Central Club. This episode is brought to you by Re-Inspire Printing, The Canna Coffee Shop, and Weekend Defender. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the club, and hit the bell button to be notified of future content. Now, before I introduce this guest, as you can tell, we finally made it. We are in our new studio. It's been over a year since we were in the last studio, so we've basically been homeless for a year, just kind of dotting around in different venues. And after some hard work, and many thanks to many people mucking in, you know who you are, we're finally here. And the guest we got today said he would only come on this podcast if he was the first guest. So here we are. I warmly welcome the legend, the Scouse legend, Mr. Stephen French.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be in Cardiff. And I'm delighted to do the podcast. And yes, it's another first that I can add to my list of firsts.
Thank you very much, Steve. It's been a real pleasure having you come down. We've been speaking for the last hour, and I've just wanted to get into this because you've got so much to talk about. And although I've watched a lot of your podcasts, I've seen documentaries of you, and many have as well, we decided we'd go a little different with this because of the current climate we're living in. And of course, we're going to touch on part of your story, but I think it's important with the things that you represent, the things that you fight for, equalising what's going on in the country right now. I think we should talk about what's going on in the country.
The gangster and the devil stuff has been done to death. That story is well known, and I'm delighted to move in a different direction. I'm moving in a different direction in my own life, right? Because I'm metamorphosizing from what was known as the devil into the fighting preacher. That's my new monocle. It's been my monocle since around 2013. Yeah, and I'm more about love, light, and hope at the present moment in time. I'm a very opinionated man. I have lots of opinions on what's going on in our great country. The greatest country in the world to live in is Great Britain. I love this country. It's in turmoil at the moment, and I'd like to shed some light on my personal opinions on what's happening in the political climate at the moment.
Yeah, well, I'm very excited to get into it, and I think that's what we need right now is people who are not afraid to share their honest opinions. I feel like too many people are being silenced. People are afraid to talk about their opinions, which I think leaves a one-sided vacuum.
Correct.
Okay, so before we do dive into that, there was something we did want to touch on. Of course, we have to touch on a bit of the background for people who haven't, come across you before. So maybe we could start with, what was your childhood like?
That's interesting, yeah, because I'm writing a new book called The Devil Decoded. And in The Devil Decoded, I speak about how monsters are not born, they're created. And the devil that was inside me, which is a nickname that was given to me, but the monster that was inside me, that drove the rage that I had when I was a young man, started in the care homes of Liverpool in the 1960s. And I'd like to clear up something about my childhood and things that happened to me when I was a small child. In 2015, I was falsely accused of raping a girl. And the Liverpool establishment turned its machine on me. And every time a story was told about me, it started with me as an 11-year-old car thief. And I decided to go back further than that and go back to what happened to me as a 6-year-old child. I did what's known as a subject access request under the Freedom of Information Act 2000 to access my own child files. And that comes as a result of my own personal white paper I wrote that I sent to the Home Secretary, the Prime Minister, the Justice Minister. And as a result of my own personal white paper, Merseyside Historical Child Abuse Unit investigated what happened to me and the allegations that I was making that took place in Wootton Vale Child Assessment Centre, a Victorian hellhole where the devil was born. I was at a Christmas party, 1965. I was 6 years old, and they invited a celebrity in to give us presents. I received a red fire engine with a silver bell and a yellow ladder on it. And that was given to me by the celebrity, who then attempted to touch me underneath. Underneath is what we used to call our private areas. So I smashed him in the face with the fire engine. I was a feral kid. Yeah. We were raised different in the south end of Liverpool. And I cut his face. He bled from his eye. He's the first man that I ever made bleed. First of many. I reported him to the staff, and I was branded a dirty, lying black bastard, shipped off to Wales. And when I was in Wales, yeah, I was beaten into silence, so much so that I regressed those memories. Yeah, I forgot all about them. When I was in jail in 2016, charged with raping a woman that I call She Cannot Be Named because she has anonymity for life. A gentleman called Ediata phoned the jail, spoke to a friend of mine called Spencer Benjamin, and told him that I was guilty of the rape and that the police were going to change me into the next Jimmy Savile. That name, Jimmy Savile, triggered something inside of me. And memories that I'd regressed began to cascade forward back into my mind. And that's when I remembered it was him that I'd smashed in the face. Nobody believed me. Everybody said I was a liar. Then DC Lee Stinchcombe of the Merseyside Historical Child Abuse Unit accessed my child files. When he contacted me after he read my child files, he told me, "I'm glad I wasn't alive in the 1960s. Having read your file, it's very sad reading, very horrific reading." Well, he read about it. I lived it. Yeah. And he established that Jimmy Savile was at the home at the exact same time that I was at the home. And that if Jimmy Savile was alive today, he would be charged with offences against a number of children in that home. Now, just think if I would have been believed at that time, how many children would have been saved and spared from the anguish of sexual abuse and physical abuse. I was never sexually assaulted. I was physically assaulted. I was beaten into silence. And to add incontestable evidence to the story that I'm telling you, the home, Wootton Vale Child Assessment Centre, a Victorian prison, was closed down 10 to 15 years later as part of Operation Care. Operation Care was the investigation into the allegations of physical and sexual abuse against children in care homes in the Northwest. And in the conclusion of Operation Care, 36 convictions, 12 social workers, well, they call themselves social workers. They were actually paedophilic monsters, were sent to prison. Now, either I have a time machine and I'm an absolute genius, or what I'm saying is the truth, because I blew the whistle on that place 15 years earlier. And as a result of what happened to me, I left that place with a rage. I read my own child files. And when I went into Woolton Vale Child Assessment Centre, I was nicknamed Smiler. Never knew that about myself till I read it in my own child files. When I left, I was no longer smiling, and the rage was put inside me. The rage that manifested itself in the 1980s and gave birth to the monster that I became in that period of my life. That was, and I don't speak this to curry sympathy or sadness. What happened to me made me the man I am today. But what I've managed to do, is when I came home after beating the rape charge, had the birth of a young child, which I'll explain to you later. But I was trying to get custody of that child, and I was told that I had to address my offending behaviour. So in order to address my offending behaviour, I went into psychoanalytic therapy. I had a session every Thursday from 4 o'clock till 5:45, £90 a session, where I had professionals help me address my offending behaviour. I was part of a group therapy. I was in a group with people that had committed murder, people that had committed arson, and I actually came up with a name for my group, and it was Monsters Inc., and the whole group had a good laugh over it, because it was monstrous men addressing their offending behaviour. And this is where I was diagnosed in 2018 with complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, the trauma that I was suffering in 2016, being falsely accused of rape with a target on my back in 5 different British prisons, reignited my childhood trauma. And that's what makes the PTSD complex. Now, this is all being certified and diagnosed by professionals. And I only went to therapy. I didn't think therapy could do anything for me. I thought therapy was a load of rubbish. I only went to therapy because I was attempting to get this child that I got that was born while I was in prison to be a single father primary caregiver, because I can give her a great life if they let the child come to me. A therapy revolutionized my life and helped me decode myself and rebuild myself into the man that I was always meant to be. So the devil's dead. I'm now the fighting preacher. And I actually fight for those that can't fight for themselves. Actually physically fight too in the ring, still at this age. Because I'm about fights, not funerals. I'm about dojo classes, not class A drugs. I'm about gyms, not gangs. Yeah, I'm about gloves, not guns. This is the work that I do at the present moment in time.
Wow. Wow. What a way to start the podcast. Like, people would have known you as a shooter, as a debt collector, as a torturer, many words. Unfortunate what happened in 2015, being accused of that. But ironically, you could probably thank her in a way to be able to turn you into the person you are now.
I'm a very robust individual. And I'm not a woe is me type person. Yeah, I try to remain positive at all times. And I do thank the hard life I had, because it has given me the wherewithal and the internal fortitude to overcome insurmountable odds, unbelievable odds, that I've come out on top. And I have to be very careful with the words that I choose, because it can appear that I'm being boastful or braggadocious, and I'm not. What I do, my keyword for 2024 is incontestable. Everything that I will bring to this podcast and everything that I'm going to tell you and share with you, I can bring incontestable evidence to add to the veracity of the unbelievable but nonetheless true claims that I make about my life. I try to be an inspiration to other people. I try to live by example at the present moment in time. And you'll find that anybody that talks truth to power, like I do, will be attacked by the establishment who doesn't want the truth to come out. For example, Julian Assange talks truth to power. Andrew Tate, truth to power, scandalized by sex lies. Russell Brand, truth to power, scandalized by sex lies. Edward Snowden. Jill Dando, they murdered her for talking truth to power. Yeah. I started to talk truth to power in 2015 when I called out the mayor, Joe Anderson, of Liverpool, and what they were up to with the £1 billion that comes into Liverpool every year getting given to the same people. In 2014, I called him out. Everybody laughed and said I didn't know what I was talking about. They're all just about to be indicted as part of Operation Aloft. Everything I was saying was true, but nobody wanted to listen to me when I was saying it. What they did is Merseyside Police, the Wirral Task Force, Chief Crown Prosecutor Siobhan Blake, the establishment and the malfeasance that was used in order to bring those charges against me was unbelievable. I was supposed to be buried. I had an excellent barrister. Yeah, his name was Johnson, not Nick Johnson, Dominic Thomas. Dominic Thomas had a patch on one eye. Excellent barrister. But he was preparing for trial. I was prepared to smash these allegations before trial. I told DC 4849 Lucy Neal in my under arrest and caution interview at Wirral Custody Suite on the 20th of January 2016, you'll get no promotion off of me, bitch. I'll smash these allegations before trial. And anybody that disbelieves I made that claim, I've got it on tape. Because I have my incontestable evidence. They branded me as a 6-year-old boy a dirty, lying black bastard. And as a result of that, I've developed 2 coping mechanisms. The first coping mechanism that I developed was I'll pick up a weapon and smash you with it if you come at me, even as a small child. When I slept in them homes, I slept with a screwdriver. And the second coping mechanism that I've developed is I time and date stamp everything. So I have these dates at my immediate recall and the names at my immediate recall. That's a coping mechanism because I have to independently verify, other than my mouth, everything I say. So I can say what I say with the assurance that it cannot be contested. I am bringing the truth. Yeah, and I practice a policy of what I call rigorous honesty. Yeah, and being mad at me for telling the truth is like being mad at a clock for telling you the right time.
I like that. You seem to have a lot of wisdom. You certainly got a good memory. You've mentioned on podcasts before, and you've spoken a little bit now about having targets on your back, and through life you've had people take you to court or try and kill you. At the age you are now, looking back, have you ever come to terms, is it not as simple as explaining it as one thing? Have you come to terms that maybe you was a type of way, or like, why do you think people have always been out to get you?
First off, I don't think people have always been out to get me. Yeah, you're right. I think two of the most base human emotions are envy and jealousy. Yeah. I have a lot of fears to my name. Yeah. Yeah. I'm the first world champion, British, English, British, European, and world kickboxing champion that was a postgraduate from Liverpool University as the first to do that. I was the first out of my martial arts background to make it into the England karate team. Yeah, I'm the first to be on this podcast in the new studio.
Pleasure.
Yeah. So, because of that, there's a lot of envy and jealousy that surrounds me. Also, I believe that I have a destiny, and I'm beginning to come into the fullness of my destiny later in life. And that destiny, is to help young men come out of the dark and into the light. And at the same time, expose the corrupt men, positions of authority and power, who utilize that authority and power to hold the majority of us down. Now, I wrote a book in 2007. Yeah, that was my mission statement 17 years ago. So, for anybody that wants to say, this is just my latest rhetoric, read the book. It's in the book. I've been singing this song for 20 years. The same song for 20 years, and it's never changed.
Well, you just said then that, and I have heard Fight and Preacher before, but as much as you've been chatting that for at least 7-8 years, people still want to call you the devil. It's like it sticks, don't it?
See, now, it's interesting you should say that, right? Because when I wanted to write my book, I always knew I'd write a book. Yeah, I knew from a small child that I'd write a book about my life. I was photographed in 1971 because I was actually a member of the YPP, Young Panther Party. I was a Young Panther, with the legend from Liverpool known as Joey Joe. Without Joey Joe, there was no Black Panthers in Liverpool. Yeah, because the black community in Liverpool, it wasn't toxic then, it was the South End. Yeah. Scousers, yeah, you're right, they stand out, among British people. And who stands out more than Scousers is black Scousers.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're the most arduous people, most tough people that you will ever come across. Scousers and black Scousers. So it's interesting in terms of even though I was called the devil, the book was supposed to be called Tall, Dark and Dangerous. When Graham Johnson, who wrote the book with me, was doing his research, yeah, and he interviewed people that I'd tortured, that I'd taxed, that I took money. That guy's the devil. That guy's this, that guy's that. Because I was an evil guy. I was doing evil things. Yeah.
Give me a method. What do you mean by torture?
So it's interesting, and I'll do it.
You seem quite uncomfortable talking about it now as well.
because it's something I'm trying to move away from.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not, it's all in the book. Yeah. It's part of my history. Yeah, right. But I carry a deep shame over it. Yeah, I carry a deep shame over it. And
that's good, Steve.
But I understand, yeah, right. What you've got to understand, yeah, right, is that when I was a 6-year-old child called Smiler, yeah, right, and I was given over to people to protect me, yeah, right, they were pedophilic monsters masquerading as social workers. And they put something inside me, yeah, right, a rage inside me, yeah, right, that when I left, yeah, I wanted to fight the world, yeah, and I wanted to set the world on fire. I didn't know why.
Well, you just said it was suppressed for so long, didn't you?
Yeah, but see, this is where the decoding comes in, yeah, right, and what a lot of people lack today is personal accountability. I've apologized in the book. I've apologized profusely to the people that did what I did. A sidebar, and I always give this guy a shout out. His name's Paul Wilson. Paul Wilson, I taxed when he was a 19-year-old boy. Yeah, I tacked him at gunpoint, took several kilos of heroin from him, and drove him away to get the rest of the heroin in the car. When I was in Risley in 2014, he's one of the few men to stand in front of me, took me into his cell, called me into his cell, said, "Stephen, you robbed me when I was a kid, yeah, and I want an apology off you." Now, I respect him because he didn't pull me with his gang. He didn't pull me with a group of people. He took me into his cell. He closed his cell door, and it was just me and him, man to man. I apologized to him. I said, "I'm sorry for what I did." Yeah, and me and him became friends, but I respect him because he's out of a handful of people that have actually stood in front of me, yeah, and challenged me. A lot of the stuff that gets said about me, or the stuff, it's all done behind my back. Nobody stood in front of me and said what they've got to say. He's one of the individuals that have. And I am uncomfortable talking about the horrendous things that I did to people. Yeah, but the part and parcel of my history, and it's what we will talk about further into the podcast, what we was talking about in the car, you and I, about do we move forward or do we dwell on the past? Yeah, right? And we'll go further into that when we speak about what's happening.
Well, it's like we're going back into the past, isn't it?
Yeah.
What? This is what I wanted to say. Although that was the description, the devil.
Yeah.
You don't believe that's what you was then? That's what you're saying?
See. The devil is a generic term, like the red devils, yeah, right? It's just like he was wicked, he was evil, he was this, yeah, right? He was devil. Now, when I wanted to write the book, it was going to be Tall, Dark and Dangerous. It's a play on Tall, Dark and Handsome, because I believe I'm tall, dark and handsome. Yeah. And Graham Johnson came back and said, no, it's got to be called a devil. Yeah. And I argued with him over it. Yeah. I said to him, well, why can't we call it? They called me the devil. But I acquiesced to his views for it to be called a devil because I understood the commercial grab of that name. Yeah. Now, and I explain in depth in the book that I'm a Christian. Yeah. That I believe in the Trinity. That I'm saved by the redemptive powers of the blood of Christ. Yeah, right? And I'm not a devil. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or I'm not the devil. I know who the devil is. Yeah, right? But I understood because everything was a means towards an end. Yeah. It goes back to 2007. I'm sitting on Paradise Island in the Maldives. I'm watching the sun come out of the Indian Ocean and it's beautiful. And I have this idea to turn the horror story of my life from a negative to a positive, to write a book, to do a documentary, in order to make a movie about my life, to raise the money to build the Andrew John Memorial Skills Centre, a centre that will know no race, no creed, no background, and teach our young men a vocational skill so that they can provide for themselves and their families without being involved in drugs, guns, violence, or becoming pistoleros and murdering each other. Because I started this work back in 2005, basically to stop the black-on-black killing, because I lost my brother to this life. Yeah. Shot dead 1991. Shot 4 or 5 times in the back. Yeah. All part and parcel of the lifestyle we lived.
Was that a targeted assassination or?
There's those that believe that it should have been me instead of Andrew. Yeah. Because the guy that killed him had actually attacked a couple of years earlier. Now, here's the interesting part about talking about destiny in my life. I was taken into prison, and I was in Wormwood Scrubs. I went in on the 2nd of April, 1991, and I was released 15 weeks later on the 27th of July, 1991. Andrew was shot dead, on the 8th of June, 1990, on Granby Street, just outside a restaurant that we used to own together. Yeah. And this is it in a nutshell. I had certain golden rules as a taxman. Yeah. And one of the golden rules as a taxman was, you'd only tax a man once. I would never try to make a man wear the same shirt twice. Because if you did that, he'd believe every time you was broke, you'd be coming after him, and it'd force him to do something about it. Andrew went to the same well too many times, and the guy did something about it.
Was he similar to you then?
Andrew was my PIC. PIC is my partner in crime. We came as a duo.
You were ruthless then? Two of you like this, you know.
I would say I would liken us.
It's like Kane and Undertaker.
No. I would liken us to the Cray twins. Yeah. Only more ruthless. Yeah. And we made more money. Because it was the explosion of cocaine and crack and the money that went with that. Yeah, right. Now, and my heyday was after the 1981 uprisings, where my neighbourhood, the South End, which later became known as Toxic, was a no-go area for the police. Yeah. And people that are my contemporaries and people that I work with, I went to school with Curtis Warren. Yeah, Curtis Warren made the rich list. Yeah. Me and Curtis had a little bit of strange at the present moment in time because of the work that I do and because of eternal politics, shall we call it. Yeah, I go in depth about my relationship with him in the new book, The Devil Decoded. Yeah, right, because it's amazing that we both came from the same school. Yeah. We're both two of the most well-known sons of Liverpool, infamous sons of Liverpool. Yeah. And he used to serve me in my mum's kitchen. Yeah.
Serve you?
He used to serve me, leave it at that. He used to serve me in my mum's kitchen. Yeah, right. See,
How old is he?
Curtis is 2 years younger than me.
Oh, wow.
So Curtis is in his 60s now.
Wow.
Yeah. But see, what the times we're talking about when we were in our 20s.
Mm.
Yeah. You've got to remember, 1980s Britain, is a totally different place than it is today. Although, Cullen, we're retaining to those treacherous times with the political climate at the present moment of time and the rise and resurgence of racism and racist values.
Well, this is what we want to talk about, get into a couple of topics kind of relating along those lines. And I think it's quite strange, really, because of what happened near your home of Liverpool in Southport. That's kind of like, I think that was the final straw for a lot of people who seem to want to rise up. Did that surprise you?
Okay. Not in the slightest. Yeah. I've got a very large social media following. Yeah, right. And I predicted those disturbances last year. Yeah. And anybody that doubts me that, you could just scroll back through my Facebook page and you'll see me saying, as a result of the scaremongering from our politicians, the misinformation of the mainstream media, and the whipping up of emotions, it was inevitable. It was inevitable. And I predicted that there would be mass civil disturbances, with an undertone of racism involved. You're right, because I differentiate between Islamophobia. I differentiate between racism and Islamophobia. Anti-Semitism. But they're all mechanisms of division. Right? Because I'm not a communist or a socialist. But I do understand, that there's an upper class, a middle class, a working class, but there's also an underclass. I come from the underclass. And underclass is individuals who come from single-parent families, who are raised on Social Security. In my day, it was called the UAB, United Assistance Board. Right? Now it's called Social Security. People that have fell through the cracks. And I don't say this in terms of, woe is me and I'm a poor kid. That's not what I'm saying. This is matter-of-factly. This is a description of the way it was at those times and the resurgence of those old views. Right. An interesting point. So we have Enoch Powell now. Enoch Powell is beginning to be revered as some kind of demigod because of his Rivers of Blood speech from the mid-70s.
Almost prophetic.
Right. Yes, but you see, what people don't understand about our own modern history, is that in 1963, I believe it was, maybe 61, 63, Enoch Powell was the then health minister. And the first influx of immigrants was from the West Indies, the Caribbean. And the person who invited the West Indians over to come and fill the positions in the newly formed health service was none other than Enoch Powell. The same one that cried rivers of blood. And what people have got to remember, and excuse my French, yeah, he's nothing but a Tory, see you next Tuesday, yeah, right, that doesn't give a damn about working class or working class people. He only cared about his own class. But he's revered as some kind of demigod now because of that speech. But he's the one that invited the West Indians here. And the reason why the West Indians were invited here post-World War II is that millions of British men died defending our country against Nazi Germany. Millions of Germans died. Millions of Russians died. And the ones that I forgot, millions of Commonwealth soldiers. My father, Thomas Benjamin French, yeah, was in the Royal Navy and fought for the right to come to this country. In 1942, he was a 24-year-old boy. And I've got pictures of him with his Navy uniform on. My dad fought for this country and for our right to be here. My family from the black side was invited here by Enoch Powell to come and do the manual work that the indigenous British thought was beneath them. To man for our women, to man the newly formed National Health Service that the Tories now have dismantled and sold to American companies. Yeah, people get blinkered and blind and don't look at the facts. I never listen to what politicians are saying. I watch where they put the money and I watch what they do. And that reveals to you who they are. Never listen to the rhetoric because it's just rhetoric, yeah, to stir people up, yeah. For example, Richie Sunak, never elected, just foist upon us, yeah, wants to take away our cash and give us digital currency, yeah, and have what they got in China at the present moment in time. So no cash, all digital currency. Who owns the infrastructure and the business that will service that industry? Well, it'll be Richie Sunak and his family. They're just feathered in their own nests, feathered in their own, lying in their own pockets all the time. I did an interview in 2018 for Sky TV News. Bishop Ebby in 2009 told me in church, when I was born again Christian, he told me, you will speak to millions. You will speak to millions and millions of people. I thought, no, I won't. I'm in a car. I've got Evander Holyfield over. He's working with my charity. And I wanted to interview Evander Holyfield, and they're interviewing me the next day. They send a driver for me, Cullen. I'm in the back of the car. And the driver says to me, do you know, Mr. French, you're going to speak to 50 million people today on Sky TV News. And Bishop Ebby flashed into my mind. And I thought, wow, getting goosebumps now talking about it. Yeah. The same, later that day, I spoke to Radio Europe, another 50 million. Now, here comes the incontestable part. Those of your viewers who don't believe me, type into your search engine, Evander Holyfield, the 18th of August, 2012, Sky TV News, and watch his interview. They've taken my interview down. You can't find my interview anymore. You're right. And this is why you can't find my interview. I told a newsreader that the young men up and down the country are seen as the cause of all the problems. when they're not the cause of the problems. They're a symptom. And the actual cause of the problems are your bankers, your politicians, your clergy, the men in positions of authority and power whose duty and responsibility it is to build an infrastructure for all of us to be able to tap into so we can provide for ourselves and our families. And I broke it down this way. The British economy is like 20 biscuits on a plate. And the bankers, the politicians, and the ruling elite take 19 biscuits and share them amongst themselves. And they leave one biscuit on the plate and they say to the British working force, look at the immigrants trying to rob your biscuit. Oh, look, well, they just got all those biscuits stuffed in the pockets. Now, that interview was taken down. And the reason why that interview was taken down is because they can't have anything broken down that simple. If you break anything down that simple, people then begin to realise.
They wake up, don't they?
Yeah, they wake up. They wake up. And see, no. I take that back, wake up, because it suggests people are asleep. Yeah, and that's kind of rude to tell people that they're asleep. Yeah. What they are is deceived. They have their minds manipulated by misinformation and propaganda. Yeah, right? Because people aren't asleep or dumb. I don't call anybody... see, there's this word called woke. I'm not woke, but I'm awake. There's another word called radicalized. I'm not radicalized. I've got open eyes and I see what's going on. Yeah, right? I don't get misled. And it may be, yeah, right, it's because I identify as British. I identify as black British. Yeah, first generation British born black. That's what I identify.
That's refreshing to hear.
Yeah, and I've got the greatest respect for this country. I've got the greatest of respect for English law and English law courts. What I have no respect for is the custodians that we've left in charge of it. Yeah, those that administer the rules. Who watches the watchers? Who watches these judges? Who watches these politicians? Who watches these police? Yeah, who are they accountable to? Yeah, right, for when they're lying in their own pockets. You can't go nowhere in the police force unless you're a Freemason. You have to be a Freemason to rise through the ranks. Yeah, right. Now, Freemason for me, yeah, right, at its core level, yeah, it's Luciferian. Yeah, now people say, oh, you can't say that. When I'm in the care homes, I see men coming in with long robes on, yeah, and antlers on their heads, yeah. I never knew what that was until I read a book by D.C.I. Clive Driscoll called The Pursuit of Truth. Now, in The Pursuit of Truth, he was designated to investigate paedophilia in the Elephant and Castle in London. His investigation was closed down by none other than Jack Straw. And the reason why his investigation was closed down, yeah, right, is because it was leading to the door of Leon Britton. Leon, I love bumming little boys Britain. Yeah. Same as Ted Heath throwing boys off the back of Morning Cloud that he'd bummed. Yeah. Now, I do not fear to speak this way about those people. Yeah, right, because I'm only here for a short period in time. Yeah. I'm interested in where I'm going to spend eternity. I believe in an afterlife. Yeah. And I will call these people out. Those investigations. Now, if you don't believe me, yeah, and if you believe I'm just a dirty little lying black bastard criminal, yeah, go and read Clive Driscoll's book. Go and read The Pursuit of Truth. He was one of their own. And he highlighted what they was up. There's another guy I work with called John Wedger. John Wedger was
great.
John Wedger was a police officer. Yeah, right. They mess with his money. They mess with his family. They mess with everything. He's a soldier. He's a soldier. Me and him, the copper and the ex-con, we work together. Yeah. He's done, he's interviewed me a few times. Yeah. And there's pockets of individuals like me up and down the country, that we speak truth to power and we say what's going on in this country, what's actually happening in this country. Not the mind manipulation, not the mind control of the media, which steers the great British public in a certain direction.
But they are part of the agenda, aren't they?
See, Britain isn't a racist country.
No, I don't believe it.
Yeah, right. But what you have to look at is Brexit. Yeah. Because Brexit wasn't about borders. Yeah, right. It's about stopping immigrants. Yeah. And it was 51 to 48. Yeah, right. So, to leave. Yeah, right. So, we have an issue with racist mindsets. Yeah, right. The average, and you see in the disturbances of late, when what's been labelled the far right rose up and tried to do what they do, and ordinary British people said, "Get out of here. We're not having that." There's extremists on both sides.
Yeah.
There's extremists in the far right, EDL, hardcore racist, want to kill all black people, and then there's fundamental
communists.
The topic at the present moment of time is Islamophobia and Muslims and Islam. Yeah, right. I'm a pro-black anti-racist. Yeah, I don't believe there's nothing wrong in putting your own kind first, as long as it's not to the detriment of anybody else. And that's what the indigenous British are trying to do. They just want to put their own values first. And I don't see anything wrong in that. Yeah. I don't see that as racist in any way, shape or form, to want your culture and your values of your homeland to be paramount. Now, let's go back to the 50s. Yeah. When the West Indians came from the Caribbean Windrush. Yeah, right. This is how I know it's not about religion, because the West Indians were all Christians. Yeah, but we weren't wanted. I can remember the signs, keep Britain white. Yeah, if you want a nigger for a neighbour, vote Labour. Yeah, I can remember those signs. Yeah, right. We rose up. We weren't having that. Yeah, right. And my generation in our 20s, we are the last generation to stand up to Tory tyranny. We stood up in Toxteth, Liverpool, Moss Side, Manchester, Chapeltown, Leeds, Handsworth, Birmingham, Brixton, South London, Tottenham, North London, and not forgetting the oldest black community in the UK, Bristol, St. Paul's. And we set this country on fire. And we stopped the New World Order. We stopped the plans that they had, and they had to rethink everything. Yeah. Now, this is why I know it's very complex. Yeah, right. And it's very difficult to talk about, because I don't want to alienate my white friends. I don't want to alienate white people. Yeah, right. Because I'm not anti-white. I'm anti-racist. Yeah, right. Now, can there be black people that are racist? Can there be Asians that are racist? Yes, they can. Of course they can. Yeah, right. But it's about a power.
But some people don't think they can be. There are people out there who think that.
Listen, so it's like this. Racism is about power. Yeah, right. We as black people don't have the power to say we're going to send the immigrants to Rwanda. We as black people, we don't have the power to change laws. Yeah, right.
Do you think that's racist though?
But no, that's those that can do that. it's the subtle differences between racism and prejudice. Yeah, right. Now, this is what's racist from the other side. Early this year, I went to a do at the Blind Beggar for my dead partner. May he rest in peace, Dave Courtney. Yeah, took his own life because he didn't want to live in pain anymore. Yeah. Wasn't a coward's way out. Very brave, I believe.
Rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. When I came out at Whitechapel, I thought I was in Kabul. So I understand what the British indigenous are saying. Yeah, right. And then cars parked on double yellow lines. Yeah, right. And car park attendants told them not to give them tickets if they're outside the mosque. Yeah, that's not fair. Yeah, right. Everything should be the same for everybody in the country, regardless of race, colour, or creed. Yeah. So
And religion. No.
Religion for me. See, I'm not religious. I've got faith. Yeah, right. I don't believe in organised religions. I get into a lot of trouble with this with my Christian friends. Yeah, right. Because I identify as a Christian, but only because he's called Christ. I follow the Lamb without stain. Yeah, right. The Lamb without stain died on the cross. Yeah, right. So sinners like me can be forgiven. That's what I believe. Yeah, right. And I believe the message is being corrupted and polluted. Yeah, right. So I keep it simple. Yeah, I keep it simple. I pray to the Creator of the universe. Yeah, right. That's who my prayers go to. Yeah, and I believe. Yeah, in Yeshua. Yeah, that was his actual name. Yeah, he wasn't a blue-eyed blonde. Yeah, right. He was a woolly-haired, brown-skinned guy like me.
That's obvious.
These are the facts. Yeah, right. But see, there's a lot of people that can't take that kind of truth. Yeah, right. Now, because, and I say it again, don't be mad at me because I know the truth. Yeah, you've been deceived. The majority of the people, they're not asleep. They've just been deceived. Yeah, right. Racism and race is all a social construction to keep us all divided, while those at the top,
manipulate us.
Laugh, and look down at us. Yeah, right. While we're running around in our burning our own shops and burning our own communities. Yeah, we're setting Greg's on fire. What's Greg's got to do? I love Greg's, mate. Don't be burning down Greg's. Yeah, so it's not simple, Cullen. It's not simple.
No, it definitely isn't. But that's
complex.
by design.
That's very
definitely by design.
Yeah.
So going back to what so would you say equality is like the first starting point? Because you know we've been fighting for equality for so long, but like you've just said, then there's no equality.
No. See, what we need to do, right? We're being corralled and hoodwinked, into a civil war. But what we need is a revolution, right? To take out the 1% that own everything. It's like, see, I've got a stuff for you, right? 1% of the world own all the wealth. That 1% hire 4%, which make up the politicians and the leaders, right, to hoodwink the other 95% of us. Yeah, and until we address that dynamic, right, and it's not about, I'm not talking about the redistribution of wealth, I'm not talking about communists, I'm not talking about anything about it, I'm talking about unity. Yeah, I'm talking about people realizing that if we come together, right, and we accept each other's differences, but challenge what these people are trying to do to us, because I'm of this belief, right, that there's those that control, that own the levers of power, believe there's too many of us on the planet. Yeah, and I believe they want to kill 8 out of every 10 of us.
Yeah, they do.
I truly believe that.
Well, it's on the Georgia Guidestones, wasn't it?
You then move into the areas of being called a conspiracy theorist and you know, do you think the earth's flat and all that? No, I just look at things like the Bilderberg Group, who attended, where the money lies. Yeah, right. I trace it right back to the foundation of the Federal Bank, Woodrow Wilson, 213. Yeah, when after Congress was away and he sneaked in and they moved from gold to paper money. Yeah, this is when it started in America. You've got to look at the historical context and how everything plays out. Yeah, and then everything else, yeah, is by design to keep us at each other's throats. Yeah, right, because you and I have more in common than we have differences.
Yeah, and it seems like everyone's privy to the saying divide and conquer. You hear it all the time. Yeah, it's divide and conquer. It's divide and conquer. But we still argue. We still fall into it. Why is that? That's because it is not difficult.
No. It's again, yeah, the mass manipulation of the public, yeah, by those that own the newspapers, that own the TV stations, yeah, that own our politicians. It's like, okay, I call him Kid Starmer, yeah. You may know him as Keir Starmer, yeah.
I've seen one word, two-tier Keir as well, they're calling him.
If you look at Keir Starmer, yeah, right, you just look at who paid for his bid to become a leader. Yeah, you look at what they did to Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn is an anti-Semitic. Yeah, what they did to him in the Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn was basically this country's last chance. Yeah, Keir Starmer's bought and paid for. Keir Starmer, I don't know how he can talk because Tony Blair's got his hand that far up his arse working him. You understand? And Tony, the phony Blair, yeah, he became a billionaire. He became a billionaire after the war, blood for oil in Iraq. Yeah, the war in Iraq, yeah, you're right, where they just went and stole their resources, yeah, is what's got this influx, yeah, of refugees all trying to come to this country now. Yeah.
Like a promise, wasn't it? Don't worry, we'll bring you here.
But then it gets complex again because I personally, believe we need immigration control. I believe that if you've got no papers and you're illegal, regardless of the colour of your skin, you shouldn't get it.
Yeah.
You should be sent back to where you came from.
Well, the Windrush generation and the Asians who came here, and the Maltese, the Italians, the Greeks, who come here all these years, who did rebuild this country, came legally. They were asked to come here, and they did rebuild. But what we're seeing now is a massive influx of unvetted. But people would still say, people would still say that's the same thing when it's really not.
See. I haven't. See, it's a lot of
smoke and mirrors, mate.
No, it's a lot of age men. Yeah, a lot of age men coming into our country, unvetted and unknown. Yeah, they're building super prisons all over the country. They're building internment camps all over the country. Yeah. And they know the civil unrest is already starting. They know the civil unrest is going to get worse. Yeah, right? And then this is my belief and this is my prediction. Yeah. You won't get British soldiers shooting British people. They won't do it. Yeah. You might send a regiment from Yorkshire down to London, yeah, to sort them out down there because we've already got soldiers on the street. Yeah, right. But when it really properly kicks off, you won't have British soldiers, killing British people, right? I believe that the powers that be are bringing these people in
to use them
as an army, an army to use against the British people because here's the thing about indigenous British, yeah, right? They've got the indigenous British so busy, paying the mortgages and paying the bills that they're not really interested in what's going on, right? You start messing about with British people's kids, and that's when they show you who they are. Exactly what happened in Southport. Right? You mess about with English people's kids or the pets, the dogs or the cats, you're gonna get in trouble. Because regardless of what you say, this tiny island, with the spirits of these people, right, colonize the world. Now take away the negative connotations that come with colonization for a minute, right? I think about the achievements of that, right? Because it was an achievement, and I know it sounds hypocritical of me saying that, right? Because I'm against.
But you're being a realist right now.
What I'm saying is for this tiny island to actually do what they did, right. Whether you admire it or not, right, was an achievement. You understand? Yeah, right. Whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, they did it, and it was an achievement. And the culture went all over the world. There's a lot of people, right, and I'm one of those of it's chickens coming home to roost. Stop crying, right, because all the media caused around all the world, it's chickens coming home to roost. But again, you're right, I can sound contradictory in what I'm saying because the issue is so complex. It's not, and don't. The facetiousness of this isn't wasted on me. It's not black and white. It's very complex. Yeah. You understand? It's very complex. So, but the British people, will rise up because me personally, my own personal beliefs, right, is that those that control the levers of power, those that are at the top, right, are all Luciferians, satanic worshippers. I've seen satanic rituals.
Really?
I've seen. Listen, I was in the home when I used to see them coming and dragging kids out, men with antlers on their heads. Mate, I've seen it myself, and I never knew what it was. I used to think I was seeing monsters, and it's only when I read
this when you was a kid.
It's only when I've read. Clive Driscoll's book, the Pursuit of Truth, that I realised what it was. I'll put it together. And them guys and all that. If God's real, the devil's real. Right. And if God's got worshippers, the devil's got worshippers. Right. And I believe at the root of everything, right, is the actual devil. So funny that I was called a devil, right? The actual devil, Lucifer, the fallen angel, right, just wants to interfere with God's creation. Because now, in our society now, your little son can't play cowboys and Indians. Right? But your 4-year-old boy can identify as a 4-year-old girl. Make it make sense. This is what's being foisted upon us.
So some would say that that's a woke ideology, all this. Would you disagree?
See, woke started off as a good thing.
It did start off as a good thing.
You're right. So I don't, and now to be woke, they say that you're
identify.
You're into identity politics. You're right. So I'm not woke, but I'm awake. Right. I don't have anything to do with the woke. Now, and here's one for everybody. If you're having any difficulty understanding the difference between a man and a woman, Yeah. A woman is the lady that gave birth to you. It's as simple as that. Yeah. A man is the other gender. There's two genders. There isn't 72 or 73. Yeah. And don't try to force that rubbish on me. Don't tell me that I can't have my opinion. Yeah. That there's only two genders. Yeah. Because that's what I believe. There's a man and there's a woman. And the woman is the one that gave birth to you. That's simple. The devil, the actual devil, his whole agenda, yeah, right, is to destroy God's creation.
So
and God's creation is us. So if he can corrupt us to the extent that we don't know what a man is or what a woman is, the devil's winning. And that's who I believe it all roads lead to hell. Yeah, if you're not saved, yeah, and you don't understand, yeah, you're right, that you have to live a righteous life.
Someone, I think it was a previous guest, we had Reverend Calvin Robinson. He put it pretty bluntly. He said, in 100 years' time, when they dig up some graves, from the skeleton, they will tell you that's a female, that's a male. They're not going to say, oh, he identified as this and she identified as, oh, that's a bike and that's a cat and that's... No, it's male or female from the skeletal structure.
I'll take it on a more practical level. Yeah.
Incontestable level.
Yeah. So we complain that our country's under attack. Yeah. But we're allowing transvestites and drag queens into our school to tell stories about fellatio and oral sex and anal sex. Yeah, right. While the Russian kids and the Russian kids are learning to box. Yeah, the Chinese kids are learning blindfolded to disassemble and reassemble firearms. Yeah, and our kids have been told it's all right to identify as a cat.
But they have fairies now, don't they? That's what they have. In one school, there's actually a litter box in it. They said, why is the litter box in there even the one identifies as a fairy?
Well, see.
But you know, if you could teach a cat to use a toilet properly, you would. So why would you give the kid a litter box anyway? Just use the toilet.
See. Here's the danger of speaking about that. You're lending legitimacy to the idea. Yeah, right. I don't do that. I say that's nonsense. Yeah. It's not. Now, if you want to censor me or punish me for calling nonsense, yeah, well, censor me and punish me. Yeah, right. Because we've got to stop somewhere. Yeah, some of us have got to say, "Are you having a laugh?" Yeah, right. And stop that. But it all lends itself, yeah, right, to the division and to the layers of division, yeah, to keep us at each other's throat. We're talking about a kid being a cat, yeah, right. What we should be talking about, yeah, what job are those kids gonna do? Yeah, what life? What are they? How are they going to provide for themselves?
Well, he won't. He'll just sit there and drink milk and biscuits all day. It's bizarre.
It's like this. I seen something on online. Yeah, right. About can a child decide whether whether a man is guilty or innocent, of a crime. No, they don't have the intellectual capacity to do that. So we don't allow them to do that. Yeah, but then we're allowing them to identify as a boy or a girl. Just none of it makes sense.
You're not allowed to buy cigarettes till you're 16. You're allowed to, there's ages, isn't there?
See, then again, you see, I've got my opinions on that because in the First World War, I'm a bit of an expert on the First World War, especially the Battle of the Somme. Yeah, right. 60,000 men died in one day. That's if you go to the match.
That's the stadium.
It's the whole stadium died in one day. Yeah, right. and the average age was 20. There was lads out there 17 and 18. Yeah. You're old enough to die. Yeah, but you're not old enough to vote. It's confusion. It's confusing to me. Yeah, right. And I always look at the historical context of things, right? Because it was. I got a great phrase. Yeah, and it was lions led by lambs, and the British people are lions, and we're being led by lambs. Remember Richie Sunak with his, and you could just tell he was a liar. Yeah, right. It goes back to I remember David Cameron talking about the Panama Papers. I have no accounts in Panama. There's nothing to do with me. The Panama Papers are discussing. 3 days later, he's got the accounts in Panama. You can't trust them. You can't trust any of them. Yeah, right. And the ones with integrity, your George Galways, the MP that got called, he was an anti-Semite, Jeremy Corbyn. Yeah. You're honest men. Yeah, right. They're ridiculed and sidelined. And then, like you say, we know it's divide and conquer, but the machine just keeps rolling forward. Yeah, and all you can do, yeah, right. It's like, I liken myself to a fish trying to swim up a waterfall. It's just very difficult. Yeah. It's very, very difficult. But I'm going to stay the course. I'm going to carry on trying to do what I'm trying to do. Yeah. Now, if I have an effect and I save just one boy, everything that I've been through is worthwhile. I got testimonies from mothers, right, of the sons that I've saved. Yeah. I've affected the lives positively of thousands and thousands. Yeah. But I'm looked at, in a certain way, because it's like I was in Liverpool on Saturday, the 3rd of August, and the Liverpool Echo run an article on me, regurgitating all the old rubbish from 17 years ago about I used to do this and I used to do that. I saved 2 lives when I was in Liverpool. Yeah, I saved the life of a man called John Lloyd. Yeah, I brought him back to life with CPR. Yeah, I brought him back to life with CPR in a place called Kirby. Yeah, 6 police cars and 13 police officers turned up, and the ARV. I asked the ARV officer what he's doing there. He said, your name came over the airways with a man down. Yeah. So that's the interpretation you've got of me. Not that I was saving a man's life, that I put the
says a lot,
that I put the man down. But no, this is what I know, the manipulation of the media. Yeah, they were aware of that story. Rather than run the story of me saving somebody's life, they run a story that when I was in prison, I threatened 250 men over to London, to fight anybody. Yeah, rather than run a positive story about me, they done that. Now, and I'll relay this story, and I want to relay this story while I'm online. When I came back to London, I was in Greg's having some pasta, and a dishevelled black man came in and snatched about a tenner's worth of food. That's nothing to do with me, that's to do with internal security. But a hipster white guy challenged him, and the black guy, after getting challenged, became incensed, got in his face and began to racially abuse this white guy, telling him, what's it got to do with you? What's it got to do with you? And all the time he's raging at this white guy. He's touching his back pocket. He's touching his back right pocket, and I'm watching him. I'm sitting by the window and I'm watching him. The 3 girls behind the counter are terrified. This guy's now terrified. Yeah, right? And he keeps walking to the door, then coming back, walking to the door, then coming back, touching his back pocket. So I decide this black kid is going to stab this white kid. Yeah, right. So I decide to intervene. I get in front of the kid, right, and I say to the white boy, I'll protect you. I turn to the black kid And I said to him, because I'm feeling secondhand shame. I'm feeling shame that this black guy is acting like this in front of all these white people. So I said to him, I'll be your huckleberry. Now, I'll be your huckleberry means try me for size. Anyway, I've hustled him and I've got him out the door dead fast. And then I've blocked the doorway. Yeah. Then he pulls his blade out. Yeah. And I smiled to myself when he pulls his blade, because my instincts was right. He was going to stab that kid. Yeah. And I give him a quick 1-2. Yeah. He went down, bounced back up because he was a crackhead, and run off.
Bounced back.
The police. Oh no, they can take licks with crack.
Yeah.
Yeah. The police came. And the girl's called Sarah that works in Greg's. Greg's in Streatham. And she's telling them, and then she's pointing at me. And then the copper comes over to me and think I'm getting nicked because I've punched him. The copper goes, we've got to go straight after him because he's got a knife and he's threatened 2 lives. But you should get a bravery award. I said, me? Yeah. And these are the things that I do. Now, the reason why I got involved, it was twofold. It was 1, because I could, and 2, to show. I was feeling second-hand embarrassment and second-hand shame. Yeah, right. A member of my race acting the way he was acting. Yeah, to a white guy that had just asked him to pay. Yeah, and then I was also mindful, yeah, of what had happened in Southport. Yeah, right. When it was a young black kid that had murdered 2-3 white children. Yeah. And how that adds fuel to the resurgence of racist mindsets. Yeah. To show the broader white community that not all black men are like that. And that you can't paint us all with the one brush. Because what tends to happen, yeah, a white guy rapes and kills a girl, and he's a monster, and he's vilified for it. A black guy rapes and kills a girl, and they're all like that. Yeah, right? This is a real thing that affects our community. And we're gaslit to death over it, that it doesn't happen. Because they believe that the racism is no longer overt the way it was. Yeah, in the 70s it was overt. It was easily identifiable. Yeah, you're right. Keep Britain white. If you want a nigger for the neighbour, vote Labour. Colour bar tonight, no blacks allowed in. It was very clear to see, clear, top-notch racism. Now it's kind of subtle, and people believe that because they don't use the N-word, you're right, and that we're not called black bastards anymore, that racism's disappeared. But what happens is there's still what I call a racist mindset. Yeah. And it's really difficult, right? Because when I speak about race and racism, it sounds like I'm anti-white.
I will be honest. When I've seen some of your clips, I have thought, do you just hate white people?
No. So let me explain to you. Yeah, right. The greatest influence in my life was my martial arts master. Yeah, right. Called Ronnie Colwell. Yeah, he's a little white guy that I ended up calling Pops. Yeah. One of my other martial arts brothers is a guy called Peter Woodrow McDowell. Yeah. We've been friends since we were teenagers. Yeah. I don't hate anybody. I don't hate white people. I dislike strongly white racists. I dislike black prejudiced people because I make a differentiation between racism and prejudice. Yeah, right? I'm not saying that there isn't black people that can be racist.
There's black people with power.
Yeah, there's black people with power and they can be racist. Right? Because racism and power go together. You understand? Yeah, right? And you can have I can be prejudiced against people with red hair. Yeah, right. As long as I don't do anything to limit the chances or the life opportunities of those people with red hair, I've just got a prejudice against them. Yeah. If I then say, well, in my firm, you can't have a job here because you've got red hair, that's my power. I've now become racist against those people. So racism isn't a one-way street. It's a dual carriageway, and it can work both ways. But it's got to do with a power dynamic. And like I've said, and I will say again, it's a complex issue. Yeah, right? And I can appear as I don't like white people. What it is, you're right, is I'm pro-black. Yeah, I'm pro-black and I'm an anti-racist. You're right. And there's nothing wrong being pro your own. No. You're right. Because that's what this argument is now with the British indigenous population. Yeah. They're arguing to be pro-British. And I don't think that's wrong. Yeah. I don't think that Britain, who is a Christian country, yeah, should have outside influences and outside separate religions forced on them to be the major religion. And there's people within the Islamic community that are of that mindset. Yeah, right. That everybody who's not a Muslim is an infidel. Yeah, same as in Judaism. Everybody that isn't come from a Jewish mother is goyam. Yeah, and these are the divisions that are made. So it's not a simple issue; it's a complex issue. Yeah, I am pro my own. Yeah, right. And I don't believe that's a wrong thing. Yeah, but I'm also an anti-racist. Yeah, right. Which means I don't believe in differentiating against anybody based on the colour of the skin, yeah, the creed they follow or the religion that they believe in, yeah. And then you ask me, does it start with equality? Yeah. Without unity, yeah, we can't even begin to broach equality. Yeah. What we need to be is unified. And I keep my beliefs simple. Yeah, my beliefs are this. Yeah, I believe in the creator of the universe. I pay homage to the creator of the universe. I believe that I'm saved by the redemptive powers of the blood of Christ. I believe that Jesus Christ, I wear a cross all the time, died on the cross for our sins. I'm a born-again Christian, yeah, who was nicknamed the devil. I understand the ironic nature of me as an individual, and how can a devil be a born-again Christian? Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I am, yeah, and I'm sincere about my beliefs. Yeah, I'm not a singing and dancing Christian. They're my brothers in Christ. I go to church, I go to services. Yeah, right. But I consider myself a soldier. Yeah, I consider myself the likes of a David against Goliath. Yeah, and my favorite, yeah, is Samson. Yeah, but my strength isn't in my hair. My strength is in my intelligence. Yeah, and my ability to articulate and have views that I can put forward with incontestable evidence. Where if you're mad at me for saying what I'm saying, it's like, and I'll repeat it again, it's like being mad at a clock for telling you the right time. You're being ridiculous, because at the root of all racist ideologies, it's irrational. Mm. Yeah, and I'm a very rational person.
There's one other thing, a question I would like to ask you on the riots. Very sad what happened, but you just said then that you wasn't surprised by the English people because of what happened at Southport. if there was no attacking mosques, if there was no attacking individual black people, would you have protested along with some of those people? And second to that, do you think all of them are far right?
So, Rock Against Racism, the Anti-Nazi League, I've marched with my white brothers and sisters for years. Not just recently. Me marching, with my white brothers and sisters goes back to the 80s. Because in the south end of Liverpool, when we rose up, we rose up not just as a black community, our white brothers rose up with us, and we were rising up against police oppression, and the racist system that we were living under, because now the indigenous working class British, are under the same hammer that we was under, right? Because now they have to be held down, they have to be subjugated, and all the same. It's like I'll give you an example. For many years now, back into the 80s, we in the black communities talked about police brutality, and we were told, stop lying, the British bobbies don't act that way. Then the miners in Wales, and through Margaret Thatcher, had the boot put into them properly. I had miners coming up to me saying to me, I never used to believe you black fellas. And I said, so what, you want a medal? Now everybody knows, because of phone cameras, what we've been saying that was what's been going on. And the police are for law and order, right? To stop us rising up and stopping those that are manipulating everything and own everything, right? From getting at them and tearing them out, like the French did, with Marie Antoinette and them, and changing everything around.
So, I believe there's no place for far right whatsoever. But do you think then that the powers that be labelled everyone far right to divide more? Is that what you're saying?
See, it's like, and I'll go back to it again. The regular indigenous British people, ordinary, everyday working British people, normal people, aren't racist. And they're so busy, paying the mortgages, paying the rent and paying the bills, they kept busy. Then they have the media, the TV media, the news media, feeding them misinformation, right, which is mind manipulation and mind control, to have them thinking in a certain way, you're right. But when it gets to a point for the British people, is when you start coming after the children. Don't come after British people's children, don't come after British people's pets, or you're going to see the other side of them. The far right exists. There's always out there who would have no problem putting the likes of me in an oven and turning it on. And everybody that looked like me. They'd have no problem doing that. But to label the housewife in Southport who comes out because she's upset that children have been killed, right, and she wants to stop that happening. It's like the guy on the news that I watched. I've got daughters. And he said, a little girl ran up to him and said, help me, I've been stabbed. I think I'm dying. Just take a second to think about that. Right? Because if a little girl came running to me, and said, help me, I think I'm dying. Whoever did that to her, I'd want to kill. I'd want to kill. Whoever put that kid in that trauma, deserves to have that done to them. That's got nothing to do with far right or far right. That's got to do with right and wrong. political ideologies and political standpoints don't do that. And I have to come back to it, yeah, right, and say it's not a simplistic issue. It's extremely complex. It's extremely difficult to articulate, yeah, right? And there's extremists on both sides. Yeah, there's extreme far right. So like individuals like Nigel Farage, yeah, individuals like him need to be held to account for the rhetoric that he spews out, yeah, right? Lying in his own pockets and revving ordinary working people up, yeah, talking about the shouldn't be speaking that language on our train when his wife's speaking German at home. Man's an idiot. You understand? Man's a fool, yeah, right? But he's a dangerous fool, yeah, right? Because he's pandering to primal fears, yeah, right? Because I have to admit that the British way of life and British culture is under attack. Yeah, it is under attack. But then you have to look outside of that, yeah, right, and go back. And I borrow a phrase from one of my political heroes, Malcolm X. Yeah, Malcolm X said, it's a case of chickens coming home to roost. Yeah. British and American foreign policy from the turn of descent, from the late 90s right up to now, yeah, have got us on the brink of World War III. Yeah, British and American foreign policy, yeah, have created all these millions of brown-skinned refugees in the world looking to come to Great Britain for a better life. Yeah, yeah. And on the backs of a small minority of men, such as Tony Blair, becoming millionaires, yeah, billionaires because of what they did, yeah, right? And what they did and how they misled the British people in terms of Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction when he didn't, and it was a lie and they knew it was a lie, yeah, but they still went ahead, yeah, and killed 1 million Iraqis, yeah. Nobody was crying, yeah, right, when those Iraqis were getting buried. Nobody was crying when the Afghanis were getting buried. Nobody's really crying about the ethnic cleansing that's going on in Israel now with the Palestinians. Yeah, right. Now, I'm with Gaddafi. I want to know, yeah, how in 1400 BC, the Hebrews left Egypt, brown-skinned and woolly-haired like me, and then in 1947 they came back with blonde hair and blue eyes. I want to know how that happened. Yeah, right. I want to know what went on there. I know I'm being facetious. You understand? Yeah, right.
For those who don't understand, though, in a nutshell, give it to them. Give them that history lesson.
They're the false chosen people of the Bible. Yeah. The real Hebrews. Yeah. Jesus Christ didn't have blonde hair and blue eyes.
We used to have like the black Israelites. And
listen. Jesus Christ, yeah, had woolly hair, yeah, and feet like burnt bronze. Yeah. Gaddafi wanted to make a central bank with American gold. Yeah. The Americans went in there and destabilized this country and he was murdered. Yeah, right. Saddam Hussein, yeah. Was he a brutal dictator that gassed the Kurds? I think he may have done. Yeah, right. But what's the stability in the region when he was there? Yeah. Did we have ISIS? Did we have all these terror attacks? No. And then families like the Bush family, Blair family, and
Clintons,
and it's like, and here's a very controversial view that I hold. I like Donald Trump, and the reason why I like Donald Trump is that when he was president, black businesses flourished, black employment went on the rise, the American economy was booming, Yeah. And he started no wars and dropped no bombs. Yeah. That's why I liked him. Yeah, right. They turned him over. I was so happy when Barack Obama became the first black president. Then in 8 years of being president, the only thing he gave us was gay marriage. Yeah. Am I against gay marriage? Am I a homophobic? No. I just follow what it says in the Bible. Yeah. I believe in Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. I'm not homophobic. Yeah. You make your own life choices and you do what you do. Yeah. But these are my opinions. Yeah, right. And I'll hold them. Yeah. And I'll stand on them. Yeah, right. And if you want to persecute me for my opinions, yeah, well, people that followed the faith that I followed when Christ was alive was fed to lions. Yeah, right. I'll die for what I believe in. Yeah, and this is the stuff that I believe in. I'm not woke. I'm awake. I'm not radicalized. I've got open eyes, and I have certain views and certain beliefs about certain things. Yeah, I know the difference between a man. I know the difference between a woman.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward there.
I'm a controversial guy with controversial views. Yeah, right. Well, the stuff that I'll bring and the evidence, it's like if I say to people, Liverpool is the most racist city in Europe with the most racist police force, they tell me I can't say that. Then I say to them, but I didn't say Lord Gifford said it in the Gifford report, the Gifford White Paper commissioned by the then Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. This is the era I grew up in. Yeah. I didn't take part in a riot. I took part in an uprising. Yeah, right. It was called a riot. It's wrote about as a riot. Yeah, right. But the chief constable of Liverpool at that time was a guy called Kenneth Oxford. Kenneth Oxford wrote in the BBC Listener magazine that the mixed race community of Liverpool, that's me, yeah, are the result of the liaison between white prostitutes, black African seamen and Caribbean seamen. Yeah. That was one of the main reasons why we rioted. Yeah. They called our mums prostitutes. Yeah. And we had issues of self-identification, and that we had chips on our shoulder, and that we'd never belong anywhere. This is what we were told. And to a degree, it was kind of right, because in some circumstances, yeah, I was too white for black culture, and I was too black for white culture. But I was fortunate enough to find Japanese culture. Yeah, I found my Custobato in Ronnie Colwell. Yeah, and I am Afro samurai. I'm a black samurai. Yeah, I believe I've got a complex nature. I've got a very complex nature, and I'm a very complicated guy with very many layers to me. Yeah, but my core, yeah, I'm a decent human being, and I believe in live and let live, and I believe that everybody has a right, yeah, to live a free life.
Very refreshing listening to you speak as a black man. The things you say, you don't really hear it much. The honest opinion of it, you know. What do you think of Tommy Robinson? Do you think he's racist?
You mean Stephen Laxley?
Stephen Yaxley, yeah. That man.
Well, okay. First off, I don't think Tommy Robinson's a racist. Don't think he's racist at all. I think he's a paid-for shill. Yeah, I think he's a Zionist stooge that purposely stirs up trouble. And if you want an example of that, he's done a tape called Silence. Yeah, I think the young Syrian boy was the victim of a racist attack.
Yeah, in the school.
Yeah. And Tommy flipped it that he stabbed a girl or he did something. Yeah. and he's just lost 100,000. He's just lost a libel case. He couldn't prove it, and it turns out that Tommy was telling lies, and now Tommy's a refugee. Some country where he's seeking asylum. Yeah, sometimes life can be ironic. Yeah, I think him and Nigel Farage, are bought and paid for. Right, by Zionist money. Now, when I speak about Zionists, you've got to be careful again, right? Because you don't start going into the realms of being anti-Semitic. I'm not anti-Semitic. I've got a lot of Jewish friends. My martial arts instructor was buried under Jewish law. He's buried in the Jewish cemetery in Allerton, Liverpool. And that's not like saying, I can't. The white guy who says I can't be a racist because I've got black friends. I'm not saying that. Right? What I'm saying is you've got to understand. You've got to differentiate between Zionists, and Jewish people. Yeah, right. Because there's and the person that articulates that the best, is George Galway, when he talks about the Jews and the Jewish people that took great part in the dismantling of apartheid, and how the Jewish underground how he was ferried around, and how they fought against the apartheid regime in South Africa, because Zionism is an ideology, right. Judaism is a faith, and Jews are a race of people, and I know I've already said I want to know how they went from brown-skinned people to blue-eyed blondes, and why DNA tests are outlawed in Israel. You can't have a DNA test; it's against the law, And Netanyahu's son has just had a DNA test, right? And he's a German. He's German Polish. The German Polish. They're not Jewish. Right. And I believe, that not all of them, those that can trace the lineage back, right, are the false people of the Bible. And I believe we're moving rapidly into end times. And if you look at Revelations, and if you look at when mothers are frightened of their own sons, when sons are killing each other in the street, these are all prophecies of the Bible, written thousands and thousands of years ago, that are coming true now. Now, and for your listeners, right, I'm not a holy Joe. I'm not a singing and dancing, jumping up and down Christian. I'm a practical man, but I read my Bible, and I look at these things, and it's interesting because my nickname was the devil. I see the devil's hand in everything, the actual devil, the fallen angel, Lucifer.
And we can see the devil more, I think, here on earth. We see it everywhere.
The devil is
we actually see devil worship.
It is given to and see.
But anyone who doubts God, if there's a devil, there's a God.
Listen. I'm not here to evangelize. I'm not here to turn anybody to Christianity. That's not what my journey is about. I'll tell you what my journey is about. In say 2009, I had offices in Warrington. Right. Now, there was a war going on between two gangs in Manchester. One was Moss Side, and the other one was Cheetham Hill, the Hillbillies and Gooch, right. And I've never shared this story, but I'll share it now. I had killers from Gooch to my left side, killers from Cheetham Hill to my right side, men in the same room, who had families that have killed each other. And we weren't talking about peace, because it was too soon for peace, right? There was a guy called Piggy. He got 33 years because they killed one boy, and then when they was burying him, they went to the funeral and they killed another boy. Yeah. And I brokered the peace. Me, Stephen French, broke the peace. Jason Culpepper on one side from Cheatham Hill. Yeah. Heavy hitters from Gooch on the other side. That although it's too early to speak about peace, that doesn't happen at the graves anymore. Yeah. And since that meeting, there's been more soldiers killed, but there's been no gunshots or gunplay at funerals. And I, in the work that I did, brokered that meeting. And the room was electric. That's the end where I work. Yeah. I work with killers. I work with those that are killing each other. And you see, I don't sing about the work that I do because scriptures tell me to do your good works quietly. Yeah, and I try to do my good works quietly. Yeah, right. But I'm taking a different tack. Yeah, right, because I'm in the process of sanitizing myself. Yeah, from the monster that I was made by the life that I had. Yeah, right, to decoding myself. Yeah, in order to find the seed money to do the work that I do. I'm now involved with a charity called Africa Lands Trust, yeah, with a guy called David Maiden, yeah, and my good Christian brother, Jared McCormack. We want to change the old slave trade route into a trade route, yeah. We're talking about trade, not aid for Africa in Ghana. Why Ghana? I've done a DNA test on myself. Yeah, I'm part of the African diaspora. Yeah. My name is Stephen French. I lost my African name. One of my ancestors lost their African name that came from Ghana in the transatlantic slave crossing, what they call the Middle Passage. Yeah. 6 million of us didn't die. 60 million of us died. Yeah. These are the figures that are hidden. Yeah. And those that got to the other side, listen to the Bob Marley song, We're the Survivors. The black survivors. That's why our genetics are so good. That's why I look so young. Yeah, we're the strong ones that made it. Yeah. Why is my name Stephen French? Where's my African name? Well, in 1860, slavery was outlawed, and Trinidad was owned by the French. Right. And the British Navy freed us. And when they freed my great-great-grandfather, they said, you were owned by the French, so now your name's French. And that's why my name is Stephen French.
How original, like, isn't it?
It's no. It's not to do with that. This is matter of factly. It's not to curry favour. It's not to curry sympathy. Yeah, it's to the work I'm doing in Ghana, you're right, yeah, I've been shown the plateau of land, yeah, you're right, where I'm going to build my skill centre, where I'm going to build a university, yeah, and in order to do those things, this is why I'm back doing this work, yeah, I have to sanitize myself from the devil, I have to sanitize myself from being called a police informer, I have to sanitize myself from being labelled a rapist, I have to sanitize myself from being labelled a child, a man that raped, an incestuous paedophile, they labelled me. Yeah, right? But inside of all that, yeah, God made me one of the most robust soldiers to walk this planet. I can weather all those storms, yeah, and I am now beginning to fulfill my own destiny. Yeah, and the work that I'm doing, yeah, right. I have to let I do lots of podcasts, I do lots of social media stuff, yeah, because I'm looking to draw people in, yeah, right, to help us raise the seed money to do this work, because my idea was very simple: write a book, do a documentary, make a movie about my life, get the 25 million quid I do, and build my skill centre. Yeah, and that's evolved and evolved and evolved. Yeah, right. Somewhere along the line, yeah, right. And here's the interesting part. It's 1966. It's the World Cup. And Pele is playing at Goodison. My uncle takes me for the ticket. And I see on the window, no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. I'm a half black, half Irish kid with a dog called Patch. Yeah. And I say it as a joke because it's funny, but it was my life. Yeah, right? Because I'm part of the African diaspora, slavery. Yeah. And then on the other side, it wasn't an Irish potato farmer. Yeah. It was a genocide.
Yeah.
And starvation. Yeah, right. And those is infused in me, because I'm as proud of my Afro-Caribbean blood as I am of my Anglo-Irish blood. You understand? Yeah, right. Because I know about my Irish culture too. Yeah, I know about the black and tans. I know about, because before the English aristocracy, and you've got to make this difference. This is the difference when I talk about white people. Yeah, right. I'm not talking about the ordinary white people, because the ordinary white people have been denigrated too. Yeah, I'm trodden down too.
It's
a tiny substructure of white people that own everything. Yeah, right? And before they had the Africans, before they had the Caribbeans, they had the Irish. And you know what they used to call the Irish? White niggers. Irish used to be, Irish were dehumanized. It's not a brand new strategy. It's an old strategy. Dehumanized them, and the English, not the British, the English ruling elite, not the everyday English people. Yeah, right. Because say Victorian times, English children were walking around with no shoes on. It was the richest country in the world. Yeah. Victorian children had no shoes. Yeah, right. So it's not the indigenous English, the indigenous British I'm talking about. It's a ruling elite. Yeah, a ruling class that don't care about nobody but themselves and their own pocket. And this is where, and it's not hatred I have for them. Yeah, it's, I know who you are and what you're doing. Yeah, and before you did it to us, you did it to your own. Yeah, so it's not like we were singled out. Yeah, because I'm nobody's victim. I'm a survivor. Yeah, I hate the term victim. I want no reparations from anybody. Yeah, I want to be left alone to do it for ourselves. Yeah, I was never a slave. No one's ever owned me. I've lived all over the world. The United Kingdom is the greatest country in the world to live, better than America, better than anywhere else. Yeah, I'm articulate, I'm educated, and I'm informed. Yeah, right, because I went to a British university, and I went to that British university for free. Yeah, I love this country. I was born here. This is my country. Yeah, right. And on a more global aspect, yeah, I want to turn the African slave trade route into a trade route, yeah, because I want trade, not aid, yeah, for where I originate from. And these are the goals that I work towards, yeah. And I see myself as a commodity, yeah. I believe I will get a film made about my life. And every penny that I make from this new book, and every penny that I make from any film, yeah, right, will go into my mission statement. And my mission statement remains the same: to help young men come out of the dark and into the light. And at the same time, expose the corrupt men in positions of authority and power who utilize that authority and power to hold the rest of us down. I don't believe that's a bad thing.
Mate, I'm backing you all the way. Honestly, it's really nice to hear. You sound so hell-bent on it as well.
I've been trying to do it. I got very close in 2012. I wrote the book. I done a documentary with Danny Dyer. Remember I was talking to you about First?
Yeah.
Episode 1, Season 1,
Yeah.
most watched. Yeah, right? I've worked it out. Yeah, right? I've spoke to over 1 billion people. Yeah, that program's on. I only agreed to do that program if they allowed me to give my message of peace.
Right.
Yeah, if you read the book's all about peace. You only take out the gaudy bits. Yeah, the book's all about peace at its core. Yeah, I'm doing this podcast, the first one in the studio. Yeah, I'm a guy that achieves things. I'm the first world champion alumni from Liverpool University. Yeah, these are the credits that I have to my name. These are the things that I've achieved in my life. And I don't say, look at me, boastful and bragger, because I believed it was me. Yeah. And God humbled me. Yeah, and threw me into prison. I was in prison 2013. I've been working as an anti-gun campaigner for 8 years. Then I pistol whipped somebody. I'm sitting in my jail cell and I say to myself, what the hell happened? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Why am I here? Why am I here? And the only book I had was a Bible. I pick up my Bible and I blow into my Bible and I slam it and I put my hand on it. Isaiah 40, 10, 15. Have no fear. I am with you. I will lower my hand and raise you up. Your enemies will be as nothing. Isaiah 40, 10 to 15. Yeah. I'm a chosen soldier. God's in my life. Yeah. I don't have to question his existence. He's revealed himself to me several times. And I don't mean he's floated down on a cloud. Yeah. I mean, I slammed into my Bible and I landed on Isaiah. And I was told I wasn't alone. I'll reach you, I'll reach in. And I was a very arrogant man. I was a very, my hubris was my undoing. Yeah. I left my arrogance and my hubris in jail. I became a humble man. Yeah. I came back to the work. Then they labelled me an incestuous paedophile and said that I raped my own 18-month-old daughter.
What?
They put naked pictures of me online with my daughter saying that I was doing, these are the things that have been done to me.
18 months she was at the time.
Yeah. The interesting thing is about that is I changed my life and I moved to London to build an infrastructure for her. Here's the incontestable parts. December the 5th, 2023, the independent social worker has recommended me as a suitable candidate to be a single father primary caregiver to that child. The same child that they said I raped. She's 8 years of age now. Yeah. I've got 2 5-year plans for her. Yeah. If they give it to me, yeah, in 2038, yeah, she'll be going to university. Yeah. No, in 2034, she'll be going to university. Yeah, like I did for my first daughter. If she stays where she is, in 2034, she'll possibly be on a second child. Yeah, they're my predictions. I've been cleared to be that child's. I raise my children. Yeah. I'm not a deadbeat dad. I've been involved in my children's lives. Yeah, I love being a dad. Yeah, I was a lousy husband, but I was a great dad. And I see my own destiny come to fruition in me. Yeah. All I have to do is remain humble, stay rigorously honest, yeah, and continue with the work that I'm doing. And it's not about me. If I manage to raise the seed money that I'm trying to do, all I need, is a car to get around, a place to sleep, and somewhere to bathe, right? Everything else is going into the work. Everything else I'm doing, right, isn't for me. It's for those. I was in Liverpool. I went to see my mum for a 90th birthday. I was in Liverpool the 31st of August to the Sunday 4th of August. I went home after services on Sunday 4th of August. I went out to a soul club on Saturday night, and I got punched in the mouth of an enemy of mine. Lost my test. It was a test. It was a test to see what I'd do. The next day I went to services and I forgave the man that punched me in the mouth. Old Stephen would have went to the Way Station gym where he worked, and shot him when he was coming out, or stabbed him, or done something awful to him. I forgave him. I drove back to Liverpool. I drove back to London from Liverpool. By the time I got to home, my phone had gone about 10 times. I'd been knocked out. He punched me in the mouth. He didn't knock me out. I'd been knocked out. So now I've challenged him to a charity boxing match. And there's 3 charities that I'm going to give the money to. One is the Marie Curie charity that looked after my martial arts master. The second is my own charity, Africa Lands Trust charity, which is trying to change the trade route into the slave route into a trade route. And the third charity that I want to help is for the families of those children killed in Southport. Because not all black people hate white people. Not all black people kill white people. And I want to help those families show that there's decent black people in the UK that love white people the same way white people love black people. Let those on the far right do what they're doing. Let those on the far left do what they're doing. And let us in the centre show them the way it should be. With love, with light, and with hope. And with change powered by better choices. I'm all about love. I'm all about light. I'm all about hope. And I revolution my life by making better choices. Change powered by choice. These are my catchwords. This is the drum that I've been beating. Right? And I had to be smashed, ridiculed, and trampled down. I gave up in 2020. I laid down. I was beaten. I was exhausted. And I disappeared for 3 years. My Christian brothers come and found me. They picked me back up. And said, Stephen, we need you for the fight. You've got to come back. I started this latest round of podcasts in the beginning of this year. I said by January I'd be back on TV. By July I'd be back on TV. I've been back on TV. And I'm making the light shine on me because I'm now ready to ask people to help us. To support us in what we're doing. Right? To donate to our charities, in order for us to achieve the work that we've done. And the beauty of everything, Callum, right, is in 2025, my Kazuna Increase the Peace program will be 20 years old.
Wow.
I've been rattling this drum for 20 years. Now, I just addressed this one. I'm the anti-gun campaigner who pistol whipped a guy. Right. I made myself into a hypocrite. I am a hypocrite.
I don't think that's a hypocrite.
Listen to me. I'm guilty of a hypocritical act. Right. I'm the same guy that had Ricky Hatton and Evander Holyfield at the patrons of my charity. I had 8 world champions working with me, yeah, right? But I fell off, yeah, because I got took to the precipice, yeah, and I fell in. In 2017, Sam Walker took me to the precipice by starting an online campaign against me, saying that I was incestuously interfering with my own 18-month-old daughter, with photographs juxtaposed with her and me, naked photographs of me that he got from a girlfriend of mine, semi-naked photographs of my daughter, and a horrendous caption saying that I was raping this kid. And I was on the way to go and tackle him when a friend of mine called Ian Hollywood is the chaplain at Alder Hey Hospital, and he gives young children the last rites before they go to meet Jesus. Purified his heart, this man. And this man was once involved in a conspiracy to kill me, yeah, where they sent for the IRA to kill me. Yeah, you can read about that in Joey Owens' book, Race Wars to Door Wars. There's a chapter dedicated on how the Irish came to kill me, if you don't believe me. He wrote to me when I was in prison, asking me for forgiveness. The same time when I read into the Bible, and I forgave him. He travelled from Liverpool to London, and he took me to the Tate Gallery. And we looked at Samson and Delilah in the Tate Gallery. And rather than going and falling off again, I forgave him and I resisted. So, who better than me, who worked so hard as an anti-gun campaigner, got took to the precipice and fell off, got took to the precipice again, I forgave them. Got punched in the mouth in Liverpool on Saturday, I forgave them. To talk to your sons about getting out of this life. Who better than me? Who better that has lived that life? Who better that has lost his own brother to the gun violence? Let me tell you about my experience. Yeah. My son, Stephen, shot twice in a year. The second time his girlfriend was with him, she was shot as well in the finger. My nephew, Grantley Deccan, shot in the head with a 9mm pistol. Yeah, lost his left eye. My brother, Andrew John, shot dead. Yeah, I myself have been shot, stabbed, and petrol bombed. Yeah, all due to the life what they call the game. Call it the game. It's the game of death. It's a monk's game. I advise the young men to find a trade, get a skill, get a job. And this is what the Andrew John Memorial Skill Centre is about. Yeah, because I take you back to my political hero. Yeah. I ain't asking. I ain't got my hand out or my hat out. Yeah. I'm trying to do it myself. I'm trying to affect social change myself. And anybody that does that, and anybody that rocks against the establishment comes after. When I was the devil and I was robbing drug dealers one a week, nobody cared. When I said, look at your corrupt politicians and your corrupt judges and your corrupt MPs, then they wanted to lock me up as a nonce. Yeah, right? Look at the facts. Look at what they're doing to Andrew Tate. Yeah, he hasn't trafficked anybody. He hasn't sexually. He's not. Now they're trying to say he's a paedophile. Yeah, and all the man's done is talk truth to power. And anybody that talks truth to power, they come after. Yeah, right? Well, they came after me. They almost destroyed me. I'm back again, and I'm not going to stop until, I've achieved my goals. If I don't achieve my goals, I will give it the best shot that I can. And that, nobody can do better than that. Do the best that they can. And if I'm not good enough, or I don't get all the way, at least I tried.
At least you tried, yeah.
Yeah.
I obviously when I was on addicted to heroin, like how I would make my money was I used to travel the country. I was a shoplifter. The tabloids actually branded me Britain's biggest shoplifter. That was because, like, I do a lot now to talk about it and trying to prevent it and trying to raise awareness on it. I get called a hypocrite for doing that. Well, how can you go out and shoplift for years and years and years, steal millions of pounds worth, but now tell people they shouldn't shoplift? But again, it's the same thing with the gun violence, like you're saying there, Steve. Like, who better? Lived experience is the way forward.
Listen, I've got a friend called Tony Sales. Tony Sales, right, was a crack fraudster. Yeah. Now, the anti-fraud people employ
Like, catch me if you can,
yeah, to help them. Yeah. Who better now? This is my philosophy. Yeah. Tell them what you're gonna do. Go out and do it, and then tell them when you've done it. Yeah, right. And don't. As long as you did, see, it comes back to faith, and it always comes back to faith with me. Yeah, you're right. I can sit here and be lying my backside off. I can sit here and be trying to manipulate everybody that's going to watch this. Yeah, right. But I know God sees my heart. Yeah, right. And I say again, I'm not a holy joke, but I know God sees my heart and knows my intention. And my biggest concern with this life is where I'm going to spend eternity. Yeah. I want a room in my Father's mansion.
Do you believe you've been forgiven?
I know I've been forgiven. I know I've been forgiven by the sacrifice that Jesus Christ made for me. I know this. See, I give it an example. Two of my biggest heroes, are Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X, both Muslims. Yeah, right. When I was in jail, the imams chased after me. They chased after me to convert to Islam. Yeah, right. Now, Islam, recognizes Jesus as a miraculous birth. They recognize that he did miracles through God. They recognize him as a prophet. Yeah. The only place where they differ is they don't accept that he was crucified. They accept he was taken into heaven, he didn't crucify, and he didn't die for our sins. And that's why I can never be a Muslim. I respect the Muslim faith, you're right, because then what people don't understand, people, the Americans, they lie themselves up with Judaism. Judaism believes that Jesus was the bastard son of a Roman soldier, that Our Lady Mary was a whore, right, and that it's okay to have sex with children that are 3 years old. Yeah, that's what they believe. Now, me saying those things isn't anti-Semitic. That's in the Talmud. That's what it says. Yeah, and it's all hidden. Yeah, right. And I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm not against Jews. That's what their book says. That's what the Quran says. Yeah, right. I believe, you've asked me if I believe I'm forgiven. Yeah, I believe in the redemptive powers of the blood of the Lamb without stain. I try to follow the example of the Lamb without stain. The Lamb without stain is perfect. I ain't perfect. I'm imperfect. I'm a man full of flaws. Yeah, I'm a man full of idiosyncrasies and contradictions. Yeah, but God sees my heart. Yeah, and God, at the present moment in time, because of the life that I'm living, I'm in God's good grace, and amazing things are happening in my life. Yeah, like being the first in your studio. I believe that's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing for me. Yeah, right. I think the studio
very grateful.
I think the studio's going to go on to do great things.
Thank you.
I think the setup you've got and what you're doing, and I'm not attempting to massage your ego. I believe your intentions are pure. I believe what you're trying to do is honourable, and the way that you're trying to do it deserves recognition. Well done.
Thank you, Stephen.
You're welcome, man.
You are doing amazing things. You've come a long way. What was your... Have you ever recognised or identified your lowest point in your life?
Yeah. The lowest points in my life was after sacrificing everything I was doing, working as an anti-gun campaigner for 8 years, then being lambasted all over the paper, as a hypocrite. I'm finding myself in a jail cell, with 2 years prison ahead of me. I wasn't going anywhere for 2 years, feeling isolated and alone. That was one of the lowest points in my life. I came back from that. I got out, I started to work again. I ended up getting one girl pregnant while I was living with another girl. I'm celibate now. I'm staying away from women. I believe God wants me to be by myself. To do the work that I'm doing. Because the little head was always getting the big head in trouble. Right? So I had to work on that.
It's hard being told that I can answer.
Listen, no. I get to saying there's other things that are more important. Right. So when I was in jail, when I told the police officer, you're not gonna get no reputation off of me, bitch. Right. When I was in jail, right. Until I was charged, that was January. Until I was charged with rape, right. It just went in the paper, a domestic allegation. But I knew exactly what was going to happen because it had happened to me in 2015. I knew it was going to be all over the papers. I knew it was going to be Stephen French rapist. Yeah, right. It went on, and I decided I didn't want to face it. I wrote a letter to my daughter. I wrote a letter to my own dead daughter, my unborn daughter, the one that was yet to be born. I wrote a letter to my son, and I was going to hang myself because I just didn't want to go through it again. But I said to myself, I'll sleep on it. And I slept on it. And I feel the Holy Spirit on me now. In my dreams, my dead brother came to me and he said, get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Can't carry on. What? I'm dead. You're going to kill yourself. Get up. That was my lowest point. I woke up the next day. I've still got those letters. Right. And I started my fight back from there. When they almost made me kill myself, right, I did that. They then put me to paper. Before I set foot in court, Stephen French charged with 2 counts of rape. They're singing in the jail, rape a girl once, do it twice, that's not nice. Right. The cause that was going up over me in the jail, they were going to kill me. They wanted to kill me in the jail. Right. It was an on-purpose mistake. I wasn't charged with 2 counts of rape. It was 1. They printed an apology the next day. I was in the Daily Mirror. I was in the Echo. I was on the radio. I was on the TV. All before I went into court. Rapist. Everything I said that was going to happen happened. Attacked with a tuna, a can of tuna. Right. But I smashed everything, and I came out, and I went straight back to the work again. Then they came at me again and said that I was raping my baby. Yeah, right. That one, me raping, and how that gathered moss. I was beaten. I was defeated. I laid down. But retrospectively now, I realised that I had to understand what it was to be broken. What it was to be, because I used to describe myself as the unbreakable one until I got broken. You understand? Yeah. There's nothing stronger than a man who rebuilt himself. There's nothing more powerful than a man who has a vision. I've rebuilt myself. I've decoded the monster that I was made. I'm no longer the devil. I'm the fighting preacher. And I fight for those who can't fight for themselves. And I fight for love. I fight for light. And I fight for hope. They're the opposite of darkness. They're the opposite of hatred. And they're the opposite of despair. I'm the antithesis to all those things, embodied in one man. And I don't say it in a self-glorifying way. I say it matter-of-factly because I know what I bring to the table. I know who I am. I know the effect that I can have. Yeah, and I'm coming into my own destiny. But I had to be humbled. I had to be broken. And I had to be shown that I'm a vessel. That it's not me doing this. That it's God working through me. 3 times I've been frozen this chair when I get into the right spot. Yeah. So I know I'm finally on the right path. Yeah. And I'll still be attacked. I'll still be ridiculed because the darkness don't give up. The devil never gives up. The devil doesn't sleep. The real devil doesn't sleep. Yeah, you're right. And I don't really, somebody someday might just come behind me and blow the back of my head off. Yeah, that's always that. There's always that opportunity, but I don't fear that.
And to be honest with you, I see from watching other interviews of you and videos, I see a more. It's like Teflon now. Yeah. A couple of years ago, it was like at the forefront. It was like eating you, and I feel like now. That's not your biggest worry.
See. I had to let go of my pride. I had to let go of my ego. Yeah, you're right. You can't beat me. I still fight with them. I still get in the ring and have a charity match. Yeah, because I still like to punch people. You understand? That'll never leave me. Yeah, I like a physical confrontation. Yeah, I want to have a fight on my 65th birthday. I've got a great plan for coming in the ring on a Zimmer frame. Yeah. Because I still have a show-off's nature. Yeah, but I'm. That's about entertainment. That's about. I've got it compartmentalized. Yeah, it doesn't interfere with the work that I'm doing.
Yeah,
it doesn't interfere. See. I work for with a charity. Yeah, you're right. Where I was a meter and greeter, where I would meet young men coming out of prison, yeah, and take them to the social security, take them to sort the flat out and do what they do, yeah, right. Then they asked me, yeah, right, this wasn't true. They asked me to take a young white girl out with me on there, yeah, and I said I can't do that, yeah, right, because there was a point where I couldn't be in a single place with a woman because I think she's going to accuse me of something. Yeah. You understand? Yeah, and that those false accusations. Yeah, right. I have a production company called Massive and Agile Media. Yeah, because I'm massive, I'm agile. Yeah, and if you read it out, it's a mum. It's a tribute to my mum. Yeah. Massive and Agile Media, right? Then I was doing a charity called Massive, MASSIF, men accused of serious sexual incident falsely. There's lots of us.
Oh.
I wrote the foreword for Dale Brennan Hyde's book called Stitched. Dale Brendan Hyde went to jail, yeah, right, on the false allegations of rape. He had it overturned at the Royal Courts of Justice, yeah, right. He wrote a book called Stitched. I wrote the foreword. The foreword is called The Female Weaponization of Rape. Now, when I talk about this stuff, yeah, I sound like a misogynist, yeah, right, but I'm not, because these things go on. Rape is a crime predominantly perpetrated by men against women. Yeah. But there's another crime, yeah, that's perpetrated by women against men and women. Yeah, right? And that's those females who falsely accuse men of rape. Yeah, right? Because that's a crime against the men, but it's also a crime against the genuine females who've actually been raped.
Yeah.
And it makes it more difficult for them to be believed. Yeah. Now they say, oh, well, rape goes unpunished. Yeah. Only 1 out of 10 rapists goes to court. What they don't tell you is the reason why only 1 out of 10 rapists go to court is when the CPS look at the girl's phones or the girl's social media, they'll find a message like they found in mine. Yeah. My case fell apart. I can tell you the email verbatim. Fucking lying bastard. Rigorous honesty. Nigga, please. You told me you took the sluff for an abortion. Watch what I do to you now. Yeah. That was the email. Yeah, right. Now, DC 4849 Lucy Neal suppressed that. Yeah. White female. So Siobhan Blake, Chief Prosecutor for Mersey and Cheshire CPS. Yeah. A chief protagonist for Vogue, Violence Against Women and Girls, suppressed that. Yeah, right. I found that in the unused material. Yeah. And that was utilised, and if you read in the papers, was one of the reasons why the case against me fell apart before trial. Yeah. They tried to stitch me up, and everybody that tried to stitch me up was a white woman. Yeah, right. And it's not racist in me saying that. That's what happened. Mm. Yeah, right. And so I was doing a charity, Massive. Men accused of serious sexual incident falsely. Yeah, right. And hundreds and hundreds of men contacted me over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. There's loads of us. If you want to know, yeah, those allegations destroy lives. Yeah. I'm a strong geezer. The rape one didn't call me. The paedophile one broke me.
Sticks as well, don't it?
No, because it does.
Shit sticks.
Yeah, no? But you see, because of
depends on obviously who you are and you know
because of the social media presence I've got. Yeah, right. Because millions listen to me. Yeah, right. And because
they know.
Because I can bring incontestable evidence to the contrary of what they do. It's like Siobhan Blake. Yeah, she said when there was five people, all criminals that were witnesses against me. Yeah, right. The girl, 2 children, and two other people. They all had criminal records. Yeah, right. But she said that the jury would have no problem believing them. Yeah, right. So there's a likelihood of conviction. When I got out of jail, I tried to prosecute the girl for falsely accusing me. The same CPS lawyer, Siobhan Blake, said, "We can't bring no case against you because you've got a criminal conviction and the jury would have difficulty believing you." I juxtapose those 2 cases together. When you see it, you can see the hypocrisy clearly. And that's why I have a huge following.
As you've come in as Smiler, you've come into this world as a Smiler, you've been known as the devil for so long, you're now the fighting preacher. What would you like to leave as a legacy?
Yes. My legacy will be a monument to my dead brother. And a monument to my dead brother, I was going to build the Andrew John Memorial Skills Centre in Liverpool. I'm now going to build it in Africa. And I believe I'm going to do that, right? Because Dave Merton showed me a plateau. And I've been dreaming about this plateau in my mind since I was a kid. Yeah, and when he showed me the picture of it, it was the exact picture of it. Yeah. Now, the Africa Lands Trust is a charity that I've been involved with for 7 years. Yeah, I met with the former Deputy Prime Minister, John Prescott. I met with former UN Secretary Kofi Annan before he passed away. They were helping us with this, changing the African slave trade route into a trade route with locally grown produce. Yeah, you're right. And we can grow tons and tons of rice, enough rice to feed Ghana itself. Is the projects that we're working on. Yeah, and we need to raise maybe about £3 million seed money. Yeah, we're well on the way, and we're well on to doing what we're doing. And everything that I'm doing at the present moment in time is going to be geared towards that. Yeah. At the same time, yeah, right, when my mum passes away, yeah, I'll release my new book. The stuff in my new book, yeah, right, that I can't release while my mum's still alive, about my childhood and how I've decoded the devil. Yeah. Well, my last book sold 45,000 copies. Yeah, right. This book is red hot. Yeah, I've learned how to write. Yeah, right. And this book is really good. I heard that. This book is really good. I'm sanitizing myself in order to invite investors back in to make the film, because I'm going to generate the money. I'm going to generate the money myself to do the work that I want to do. Yeah, and I want my legacy to be the Andrew John Memorial Skills Centre, so that when anybody goes and looks and says, oh, that's where the kids go to get trained and learn skills and learn jobs, and they look into it and they see who done it, they'll find my name, and that'll be my legacy. Thank you very much.
Stephen, thank you very much for coming today. I've really enjoyed this conversation. I would like to hopefully have you down in the future again, in the near future, maybe when you've done a bit more and got a bit closer to...
You see, I'm a guy that loves to... I'm like Muhammad Ali. I like to make predictions. Yeah, right. And I'm going to predict that we'll do Andrew Tate here to get our numbers up. Yeah, I'm working on it. I haven't even met him yet. You understand?
I love that, though.
I haven't even met him.
I love that.
Yeah, but with a kin spirits.
You're more than welcome to use our studio, Steve.
And we will do that, yeah. And I'm a person who has the ability to make things happen. Yeah. So I'm actually put my backside up in the air, which I do quite regular, to make that happen. But I'd just like to finish it and say this. The sanitization of me as a person is almost complete. One of the labels that I hated, yeah, right, was that I was a snitch and a police informer. I went on Billy Moore's podcast and I asked for the statements for who I've snitched on and who I've grassed on. And the reason why I labelled that so much is the boys that I want to work with are killers, shooting and stabbing each other. And if they think they can't trust me and I'll inform on the police to them, I can't work with them. And this is why I labelled that point so much. Yeah. I've laid down my firearms. I've laid down my swords. I've laid down my violence. I will fight in a charity match. I will still get in the ring and fight as the fighting preacher and to raise money for charity. Yeah. But as in terms of solving my problems with violence, that's a thing of the past. Yeah. That was the realm of Stephen French, the devil. The realm of the fighting preacher is love, light, and hope. change powered by choice. Thank you very much. I think that's a wrap.